Live from across the tri-states, this is KHQA This Morning. It's your news now.
Kristen Aguirre joins us live this morning from the Mississippi River.
Yeah, what's up? What's up? Yeah.
What's up?
What's up, Kristen?
Good morning. Well, we are live here at the dock and the marina, and we are getting ready to head out onto the river. Now, a lot of people are heading out there. The summer is heating up, and they're going there to cool off. But there are some tips that you need to know to stay safe. And this morning, the QFD is going to show us some of those. So we have details coming up after the break. You're watching KHQA This Morning.
Send things out to our friend Kristen Aguirre.
She is out on the Mississippi River talking boating safety. What's going on, Kristen?
Good morning. We are getting ready to head out on the water right now. But before we get started, we're live with the Quincy Fire Department. They're getting us some tips that we need to know to be safe when we're out there on the water. Now, why is it so important for people to kind of know those tips before they head out?
Well, because there's a lot of potential dangers on the river here. And so what we want to do today is we're going to show the people, the viewers, what kind of capabilities we have when it comes to different type of water responses.
So you guys are ready at a moment's notice, even if there's something that happens out on the water?
We try to be as ready as we can from anything from, civilian rescue, actually a person in the water, boat rescue, or even diving if that's what's necessary.
Now, especially during this time of year, are boating accidents more likely to happen?
Oh, yeah. People, once the weather breaks and gets a little better, people start getting out on the river, going up to Hogback Island. And again, when we have more people on the river, we have more potential for river rescues.
Now, what is the biggest tip you would give people before they head out on the water?
Stay in the boat.
Oh. Okay, so no one gets in the water here. Getting in the water is not a good idea.
No, again, the river is a very, very dangerous place to have fun, and we just want people to be aware of some of the dangers. So we'll talk about a little bit more of those specifically a little bit later on.
All right. Well, we are going to get ready and get started. We're going to head out on the river right now, and then coming up a little bit later in the show, we're going to show you some scenarios and tips that you need to know to stay safe when you're out on the water.
KHQA's Kristen Aguirre is out and about in Quincy this morning over at Quincy Island.
Doing a little motorboating this morning. Hey, Kristen.
That's right. But before we head out on the water, and before you head out on the water, you need to know that your boat is equipped with the proper safety equipment. So we're going to tell you what you need to have on there. So what do we have?
So the U.S. Coast Guard requires that all boaters have a whistle on board. We have that. We have a fire extinguisher on board. We have, if you look over here, we've got an oar or some type of paddle in case our motor goes down. And we've also got life jackets, enough at least for one life jacket per person on your boat. So the extra equipment that we carry are, basically specific to response. This is also a requirement that the U.S. Coast Guard, make sure that you have. It's basically a flotation device with 50 foot of rope attached to it. That's so we can throw it out to a victim if we have. We've got a couple reaching devices down in here, a net that we can throw over and have somebody climb onto the boat. We can also use the stairs on the back for that if we need to rescue somebody out of the water, and we'll show you that a little bit later. And then if you turn around behind you over here, we've got a bunch of different medical bags because, again, like we've said before, many of the responses that we go on are also EMS calls, and so we have to be prepared if somebody's injured or hurt.
So a lot of this equipment is specialized for you guys in case there is an emergency. But when people are heading out on the water, the things that they need to have: life jackets, enough for people that are on the boat, an oar, fire extinguisher, and whistle. And
the flotation device with 50 feet of rope onto it.
All right, well, we're going to continue to show you some safety tips here, and coming up a little bit later in the show, we're going to show you some scenarios that could happen if you're not safe when drowning.
If you come into a large sum of money, you could buy a boat.
Buy a boat. And Kristen Aguirre, she's on a boat.
And she's going to
teach
us.
The song comes in my head this morning.
Which, on a boat?
Ooh, that's a good song. I'm on a boat. Okay, anyways, so we are talking boating safety. So we're already out here right on the river, but before we head out, we're going to take a look at what QFD has prepared in case anything dangerous happens when you're out on the river. So what is this we have here?
All right, well, this is our water response team trailer. It basically supports any operations that our boat's doing. We have all of our dive gear in it, communications in order to talk to our divers and stuff. So you can see here that we've laid out, this is basically what we would wear if we were going to dive for a rescue or a body recovery. Most people think of, when you're diving, they think of a wetsuit. When you're doing rescue diving, we are mandated that we have to wear a dry suit. A dry suit basically keeps us completely dry. We don't make contact with the water at all.
Wow.
And the reason is because we don't know what we're diving into. We don't know what contaminants are down there and stuff. So it's a little bit different than what a recreational diver would use, but this is it. And then go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you guys almost looks like you have the same amount of equipment that you would have when you guys are battling a blaze out here. So
Right.
What's in that backpack?
Right. Well, that backpack is our flotation device when you're diving. It basically controls the air and your buoyancy, so you can keep your whatever level in the water that you want.
And so, to use all this equipment, I'm sure you guys have undergone training and all that.
Right. Every diver on the Quincy Fire Department is certified up to the rescue diver certification. So yeah, that's about 3 levels of training.
Wow. All right, so if you are out on the boat, you can rest assured knowing that QFD has your back and they'll be there in case anything happens. Well, coming up a little bit later in the show, we're going to show you a scenario of what you could do in case something does happen when you're out on the boat.
Speaking of bridge, water, Kristen's
The
over.
bridge over troubled water. That is where Kristen Aguirre is this morning.
Hopefully not troubled water. She's in Quinsipi Island.
But if you do get troubled water, she's with the folks who will get you out of it.
That's right. We are showing what could happen if you aren't safe when you're out on the water. But don't fear, QFD is there to rescue in case something does happen. So what's the scenario we're looking at right now?
The scenario is right now, if somebody falls out of your boat, the first thing people want to do is jump in there after them. But we always tell people reach, throw, row, and go. So if you reach for someone with something and they can't grab onto it for whatever reason, or they start drifting away, the next thing that you want to do is throw something out. Again, we have one of those throw discs. You should have the flotation device with 50 feet of rope. That's something that can be used in that situation
and that's what we covered earlier, and one of the necessities that you need to have on the boat.
Exactly,
when you're out on the water.
for that reason. And then again, the last 2 parts of that, reach first, throw second, row. Obviously, we don't have to do that in this type of boat, and then go. And you can see they made sure they had plenty of help getting him inside the boat. Again, we've got the stairs on the back, but for the sake of time, we didn't have time to really put those stairs out and show you. But then you want to help that person up into the boat. So.
And it's also, Jerry's in a dry suit right now, but it'll be more difficult if someone goes in, depending on how cold the water is and what kind of is going on.
Exactly. And then, again, panic, can set in and that type of thing, and people just aren't in their right mind. So, again, that's why we always want to reach with something first, throw something to them second, and just kind of try to talk them through the process instead of just diving in and trying to be a rescuer that way.
All right. Well, we're going to continue to show you some other safety tips that you need to know when you're out on the water. And the next one, it has to do with maybe one of the toys that you have that might not be so safe.
And it's Kristen Aguirre is live on the Mississippi River this morning teaching boating safety. Kristen, what are you up to?
And we are talking about ways that you need to stay safe when you're out on the water. Now, earlier we showed you what happened if someone falls in, but now we're showing you what could happen if your wave runner or even your boat dies out. So what do we have to do?
So the first thing that we would do as we approach is always come from down current so that we can kind of control our approach. Otherwise, we might kind of come in too fast. I would kind of tell the boater what we're going to try to do here, and we've got a device that we want to use to try to clip onto the eyelet of their disabled watercraft. So then what we would do is we would just turn our boat around. If their boat is sinking, we would have them get into our boat. But as long as their boat is fine structurally, then we just make sure everybody on their boat has a life jacket. We've got plenty of life jackets that we can hand out if they don't. And then obviously we would just try to tow the boat back to safety. So.
Now, what would you recommend for if someone does fall in or someone's vehicle does stop and it's sinking? How many attempts should you do before we go ahead and call you for help?
You should call us immediately. As soon as somebody comes, as soon as somebody's in danger, we want to go ahead and be notified. We'd much rather get called off of a rescue that become successful before we arrive than for somebody to be at their wits' end and have tried everything and have somebody sinking.
All right, well, we're going to continue to show you some boating safety tips, and you can find all of these tips that we're learning this morning on our website at connecttristates.com.
We've been following our own Kristen Aguirre, who was out on the Mississippi River in Quincy this morning.
She's talking about boat safety. What's going on, Kristen?
Good morning. That's right. All morning I've been showing you ways to stay safe when you're out on the water. For all those tips, you can check out our website, connecttristates.com. But one of the most important features that you need to have on the boat is knowledge of how the river is. And that's kind of one of the most important things, right, Jerry?
Right. At the Quincy Fire Department, we have specific boat operators. A lot of people can drive a boat. There's a few people that know the layout of the Mississippi River. It's one thing to drive a boat on the Mark Twain Lake. It's another thing to drive here on the river as far as with the dikes, the sandbars, all that type of thing. And I want to remind everybody, it's also a working river. It's not just a recreational area. You see the barges in the background. We have 2 barge docks with Soybean and Quincy barge dock here that there's constantly towboats going back and forth, tugboats, pulling the barges, going up and down the channel. So we want to be sure that people are safe. They have a knowledge of the river, know where the problem areas could be, and just have a good time, but above all, be safe.
Mm-hmm. Now, when people get out on the river and they don't know how to work a boat, is that probably one of the main causes of accidents?
A big reason for some of the accidents is because of the lack of knowledge of the people that people purchase a boat and it's the first time they've ever driven a boat, or they've driven a boat before, but they haven't operated the boat here on the river and they don't know where the landmarks are here on the river.
Okay, so above all, make sure before you purchase a boat, you definitely know how to work it. For more of QFD's tips on boat safety, make sure you check out our website at connecttristates.com and turn into KHQA News at 5. We'll have more stories and more tips for you. Well, all morning we've been giving you boating tips on how to stay safe when you're out on the water. One of the most important things to know is to be safe and have knowledge of the river and the boat. And before we head out, QFD has one last message for you guys.
Stay classy, Quincy.